Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing the routine you followed for 40 years is suddenly gone. No alarm clock, no meetings, no emails waiting for you. For most people, that sounds like freedom. But for millions of retirees, that moment quietly becomes the beginning of something they never expected: confusion. Because when work disappears, something else disappears with it: your routine, your daily purpose, your social circle, and sometimes even your sense of identity. This is the side of retirement nobody talks about. Not the money, not the savings, but the invisible parts of life that quietly vanish the moment you retire. And if you're not prepared for them, retirement can feel less like freedom and more like losing the map you followed your entire life. Imagine you're driving down a highway you've traveled every single day for 35 years. You know every turn, every exit, every small bump in the road. You don't even have to think about it anymore. Your hands just know where to go. And then suddenly, at 65 miles per hour, the road just stops. No warning sign, no detour, just an open field and complete silence. That's what the Monday morning after retirement can feel like. For decades, most people focus on the numbers: the 401k balance, the retirement accounts, the stock market returns. We treat retirement like a math equation. But once the equation is solved, something unexpected happens. The paycheck disappears, the routine disappears, and slowly, pieces of the identity you built over 40 years begin disappearing too. Today, we're going beyond the spreadsheet, because there are 5 important things that quietly disappear after retirement. And if you're not prepared for them, retirement can feel less like freedom and more like confusion. Let me tell you about someone I spoke with recently. His name is Jim. Jim worked for more than 30 years as a project manager at a construction company in Chicago. His life was busy: deadlines, phone calls, meetings, constant problem solving. Like many people, Jim spent most of his career looking forward to retirement. He imagined relaxing mornings, long vacations, and finally having complete freedom. Last year, Jim retired with a very healthy nest egg. Financially, he did everything right. But when we talked, he told me something surprising. He said the first month felt amazing. It felt like a vacation that never ended. But after a few months, something changed. Every day started feeling like Sunday afternoon. You know that quiet feeling late on a Sunday evening? The sun is going down, everything feels calm, and there's a strange silence in the air. For Jim, that feeling never went away. Every single day felt like that, an endless Sunday. And the reason had nothing to do with money. It had to do with something deeper. The first thing that disappears in retirement: structure. For most of our lives, our schedules are built for us. We wake up at a certain time, we go to work, we attend meetings, we complete tasks. Many people spend decades complaining about this structure, but something interesting happens when it disappears. Without structure, time slowly begins to lose its meaning. When every day is completely open, motivation can fade. There's no urgency, no deadlines, no reason to wake up early, and eventually, the days begin to blend together. The happiest retirees are not the ones who avoid structure. They're the ones who create their own. Maybe it's a morning walk. Maybe it's volunteering. Maybe it's working on a personal project. Structure doesn't limit freedom. Sometimes it protects it. The second thing that disappears is C: immunity. During our careers, we spend thousands of hours around coworkers. We talk during meetings. We share lunch breaks. We solve problems together. Even if we don't realize it, work creates a built-in social world. But when retirement comes, that daily interaction disappears. Many retirees discover that most of their social circle existed simply because of proximity. People were friends because they worked in the same place. Once that connection disappears, the phone becomes quieter, and the social circle becomes smaller. That's why people who build hobbies and communities outside of work transition into retirement much more smoothly, because their friendships aren't tied to a job title. The third thing that disappears is external validation. Throughout our careers, we receive constant feedback: promotions, raises, compliments from managers, successful projects. These moments reinforce our sense of purpose. But retirement removes that system completely. No one gives performance reviews anymore. No one gives bonuses for mowing the lawn. And for people who spent decades achieving goals, that sudden silence can feel strange. The real challenge of retirement is learning to find satisfaction internally instead of externally. Doing things because they matter to you, not because someone is watching. The fourth thing that disappears is friction. For most of our lives, we try to eliminate friction: shorter commutes, less stress, easier days. But a small amount of friction actually keeps us sharp. Difficult problems challenge the brain. Learning new skills strengthens the mind. When retirement removes most challenges, life becomes comfortable. sometimes too comfortable. And when the brain stops facing challenges, it slowly becomes less active. That's why many successful retirees intentionally add challenges back into their lives. They learn new skills, start small projects, volunteer, or explore interests they never had time for before. The fifth and final thing that disappears after retirement is identity. For decades, our job becomes part of who we are. When someone asks what we do, we answer with our profession. I'm a teacher. I'm an engineer. I work in finance. But retirement removes that identity almost overnight. Suddenly, the label becomes simply retired. And that can leave many people wondering who they really are without their work. But this is also where the opportunity begins. Because retirement creates the space to build a new identity. One that you choose. You can become a mentor, a traveler, a creator, a teacher, or someone who gives back to the community. Retirement removes the old role so a new one can begin. Because retirement isn't the end of the story. For many people, it's simply the beginning of the second act. And sometimes, the most meaningful chapter of life starts after the career ends. But there's one more thing about retirement that many people only realize after they experience it. Time starts moving differently. When you're working, time always feels limited. There's never enough of it. You rush through mornings, you count down the hours until the weekend, and entire years seem to pass in a blur. But when retirement begins, the relationship with time changes. Suddenly, there is no rush, no Monday deadlines, no urgent emails waiting for you when you wake up. At first, this feels incredible. You can take slow mornings. You can enjoy long breakfasts. You can sit outside and watch the sun come up without worrying about being late for work. But eventually, something interesting happens. When every day feels open, the days begin to blend together. Monday looks like Tuesday. Tuesday feels like Saturday. And entire months can pass without a clear memory of what actually happened during them. This is why many retirees eventually realize that having unlimited free time is not the same as having a meaningful life. Meaning doesn't come from having time. Meaning comes from how that time is used. Some of the happiest retirees in the world treat retirement like an opportunity to design their life again from scratch. They ask questions they never had time to ask before. Questions like, what actually excites me? What kind of impact do I want to have on the people around me? What experiences do I still want to have before my life is over? For some people, the answer becomes travel. They explore places they only read about during their working years. For others, it becomes family. They spend more time with grandchildren and create memories that last generations. Some retirees become mentors, sharing decades of knowledge with younger professionals. Others start small passion projects that eventually grow into something bigger than they ever expected. The point is not to stay busy every second of the day. The point is to stay engaged with life. Because the moment we stop being curious, the moment we stop growing, life begins to shrink. Retirement should never be about slowly stepping away from life. It should be about stepping into a new version of it, a version where you finally have the freedom to focus on the things that truly matter. So if retirement is somewhere in your future, don't just prepare financially. Prepare mentally. Think about the life you want to build when the working chapter ends. Because when the structure, identity, and routines of work disappear, something incredible becomes possible. You get the chance to decide what the next chapter of your life will look like. And for many people, that chapter becomes the most meaningful one of all. And by the way, there's another part of retirement that very few people talk about. Retirement actually happens in 3 different stages: go, slow go, and no go. And most people make a critical mistake in the second stage that can quietly ruin their financial future. I made a separate video explaining exactly how these 3 stages work and where most retirees get it wrong. If you want to understand it before retirement catches you by surprise, make sure you watch that video next.